What's going on, Pasquale?
It's Mick Pasquale to you.
That's true. You are a Mick Pasquale.
That's right.
Welcome back. It's been a bit for us.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had some issues. Well, not issues. A friend of mine, one of my dear friends, passed away a week ago today, and so that was the reason we weren't live Monday night. And then I went away to Chattanooga, Tennessee, from Thursday to last night for a military reunion. And then today I went to my friend's memorial service. So it's been a kind of a up and down. Definitely a roller coaster week for me.
Yeah. Well, sorry again for your loss, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sean Fletcher was a good man. He was a good man. He was actually let me see. He was Armed Forces lightweight boxing champ, like 3 years running. He was a amateur boxer. He tried out for the Olympics. I mean, he was a genuine tough guy. That's for sure.
Oh no, not that toxic masculinity.
Yeah. Me and him had plenty of that. Me and him had plenty of that. And so certain we lose friends along the way, and it hurts, and we're just going to talk till some people come into the stream, although we're streaming just on YouTube right now. We're having Facebook Live difficulties. But, there's certain people in your life, you have a lot of friends, and we're going to lose them, and we have lost them along the way. But there's certain friends that it just hurts more. It cuts deeper. It literally leaves a void, at least in my case. And losing him definitely, and I already have a couple voids in my life that you can't fill them. And he's one of those voids that won't get filled. He was a very unique, charismatic character. A good dude. Yankees fan, New York Giants football fan. I'm a Red Sox fan. New England Patriots fan. As a matter of fact, I had a Super Bowl party the last time the Giants and the Patriots were in the Super Bowl, and you know how that ended up. And as soon as the game ended, I kicked him out of my house.
What kind of friend are you?
I said, you got to go. As a matter of fact, everybody has to go.
Get out.
I said, don't stop to take leftovers. Just leave my house.
Rob DeMarco. Rob DeMarco, Yankees and Giants.
Yeah, and I used to tell my buddy that all the time. The time.
To dovetail off the military piece,
because
I did want to bring this up. This might be national, but it's also local because 9/11 affected us all. I thought that the 9/11 remembrance ceremonies nationally, statewide, and locally were left a lot to be desired. So I do want to thank you. I want to thank you, buddy. I want to thank everybody that served, present, past, and future.
Yeah, he was in the Navy, which was another thing we had. He was Navy, I was Air Force. So it's a friendship that shouldn't have really been,
That sounds interesting.
But I loved him, man. I loved him. And I say this, at our age, man, and his was kind of, it was sudden. At this age, don't be afraid to tell your friends, your true friends, that you love them. Say, I love you to your friends. Don't be too, uptight or too anything. At this point in our lives, tell your friends you love them. It's easy to say, and it's really good to hear.
Also. Yeah, it is.
So, all right. Enough of that. Now I don't want to bring the show down before it even begins.
Well, this show might go down anyway. We'll see. We're trying.
This might be the highlight of the show.
That might be the highlight. So, a lot of things to talk about. I will say this. I was in Miami for the Pats game last week. That's why I missed.
Yes.
Dad lost. Had a lot of fun hanging with my brothers. I don't get to see my brother Troy very often because he lives down there. So, and I love Fort Lauderdale by the sea, even though and by the way, I spent some time up. Our flight wasn't till late on Monday night, so we were up in Hollywood.
You were down in Hollywood.
I'm sorry, down in Hollywood. I always say that. It's
okay.
South from Fort Lauderdale. Well, we went north first, but
yeah.
I mean, it's changed a little bit since the last time I was down there.
That's why I moved out of there.
Yeah, so not going back.
No.
Vikings football update, another tough loss. Friday Night Lights was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we faced a very good St. Mary's team that had a bunch of athletes. We were holding them too. We shouldn't have even been on the same field given all the athletes they had, apparently, but we played very well. So I was pretty proud of the guys.
Okay.
Now the fun stuff, the not so fun stuff. So guess what meeting I went to Tuesday night this week?
Let me stop you right there before we find this out. I guess tonight there is a planning board meeting about 5 Fremont. Very interested to see, because as we all know, I am absolutely. If I'm an activist for the Cross family, because that is a travesty. So I'm interested, and I'm going to. He doesn't know yet, but I'm trying to get one of the Cross family members to come on. I want to ask him to come on and talk about it. So there's a planning board committee. Last time he contacted me, he didn't like the way it was going, so I'll be curious to see how this goes. So yeah, that's a 5 Fremont update. So go on. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Well, that's okay. If anyone's watching this and maybe keeping an eye on that, let us, update us in the chat.
Yeah.
So the Commission for Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Relations had a meeting. I think it's Tuesday night, and I attended the meeting. And the reason I attended the meeting, Scott, was because the tree issue on Somerset Ave was on their agenda.
In what regard?
So John, I'm sorry, forgive me, I cannot remember his last name. He's a member of that commission. He and Father Walter went over to the tree to do, I guess you'd call it, an experiment. Father John is a blind man. He wanted to go over and experience it for himself before he gave any opinions on the safety of the tree. And that's really all this guy's opinion was about. And so I wanted to hear what he had to say. I also had in my mind, I wanted to say, John Morgan, as Rob DeMarco shares. John Morgan, vision impaired gentleman who went out and did the experiment with Father Walter. So I wanted to hear what he had to say. I had an idea in my mind that maybe the commission could go to back to the council and get him to reconsider it. So that's why reconsider the tree. So that's why I went to the meeting. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So they were deliberating. We had to wait till the very end. They went through their whole thing, and I was kind of chomping at the bit, but basically, John Morgan's message was that it was not safe to leave the tree up there. Didn't have the width. There was a lot of pitch on the concrete. You're almost climbing a hill to go over it. The roots were a good 3 inches high. He had some very good feedback. But the thing that got me excited was then the chief of police was there, along with the town manager, and the chief weighed in and said to the commission, if you guys were there, then and you presented the sentiment you're having right here about saving the canopy, about the safety issues, the vote might not have gone the way it went. And so that was my opportunity when I got my turn to speak, to suggest to the CDICR that they should go back to the council and ask them to reconsider that vote and vote to take that tree down. And my argument was, and I hope this got to them, my argument was, if we give that tree 50 years, let's say we give that tree that's there 50 years, and that's being generous. When that tree falls 50 years from now, what's going to be there? Nothing, because we didn't plant the 3 trees we were talking about planting today. So they forewent the canopy, the future canopy, for 1 tree. Because the reality is that tree's lucky if it has 25 years left. And no matter how healthy the tree is, once the degradation starts with these street trees, it really ramps up. And so the long and the short of that is we're hoping to get them to go to one of the meetings. We got to keep an eye on that. And then another outcropping of this, which is exciting, is I've applied to be on the CDICR, and I have some people on that commission that would support me being on it. So I'm hopeful that the approval happens.
Do they have? Is there a vacant seat, or do they have the ability to add a seat?
There's 4 vacant seats, really.
Okay.
And it's interesting because they were having relatively good discussions, but it feels to me like they're still trying to figure out how they can have an impact on Winthrop. And when I think about the CDICR, to me, it's just about the CR part as far as I'm concerned, right? If we're all in this community, do we have to call out inclusion? I mean, if you live here, you're welcome to come to anything that's public, right? I mean, does anyone debate that issue?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
And if there's 4 vacant seats, let me see. Sean Hickey says, if you guys want to see tree insanity, I point you to nowhere else but Malden. Well, let's start hey Sean, how about we start a show, Malden Votes? Let's start franchising this show, okay? Let's franchise it to Malden, Revere. Actually, I've been told that. People have said, more than a few people have said, there should be one of these shows in every town, for better or for worse, So back to the committee.
Yeah.
I think this was something that we talked about. I don't know, what's this episode, 56, I think, or something?
Somewhere between 54 and 56.
Yeah, so I think we talked about this in episode 10, like that far back, that there's no reason a white conservative heterosexual male shouldn't be on the diversity committee. And I'm going to say this point blank. If they don't let you on, that shows to me, and I'm sure anybody else with common sense, that you're the target. That the white heterosexual male is the target, is the bad guy, because you're not accepted into the diversity realm. I dare them to prove me wrong by putting you on the committee.
I'd welcome that.
I can't think of any other reason they wouldn't put you on that committee. Why does everybody on there have to be other than? Right? Because it's what it is.
And if I were on that committee, right?
Right.
Like the tree thing, I would have made sure we were involved in. That involves the community. You've got an entire council, not an entire council. You got 5 people on that council that voted to keep that tree. Only one of them lives in the precinct, and none of them collectively bothered to talk to the people who own the home that's impacted. So how's that community relations? How's that inclusive? How's that?
We can't stress that point enough. That is, you know what? That's like, they voted on it, but they never went to talk to anybody. That's like, kicking 50 illegal immigrants off of Martha's Vineyard without giving them a chance to stay. Like, no, we got to get rid of them. And I can equate that. That's exactly. They just have this mindset that no. If I don't want it, it doesn't happen, and that's it. We move on. We don't.
It was ableist, right? I think we've talked about this too. This was ableist. Those people could make that decision so easily, and the commission used this language, ableist, right? Those people made this decision so easily because they're not the ones that might have to cross the street twice. Like, you can't. Crosswalks have to go at corners. You can't just put them anywhere.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's another issue. Yeah.
So if you're coming up the street, okay, and let's say your house is on the same block as the tree, but it's just beyond, well, you have to cross. So you got to cross to get on one side. Then you got to go past your house on the other side of the street, potentially come back over and then walk back to your house if you're handicapped. What kind of sense does that make?
Yeah.
How is that not? And so anyway, not to get lost on that and beat that up too much, but for me, and I think that's why the commission was taking this up. This is the kind of stuff that they should be more focused on, rather than, they should be inclusion of everybody in the committee rather than just looking for issues. And I'm not sure that they are looking for issues, but we'll get to that in a minute, that are race related. I'm not sure all of them
don't necessarily have to be race related, because diversity includes disabled people.
Well, but they weren't looking out for them in this case, and hopefully they are now in this particular case when they come back around. My point is, That's how I see it. I see this commission as something that doesn't necessarily look at your handicap, your brown, your LGB, you're straight. It doesn't matter. You live in Winthrop. You are an upstanding member of this community. We want you here, and something's harming you. How can we come to a compromise? That's what I see this commission doing. And to that end, and I'll add this now. I'll drop this little bomb. The ending conversation they had was about Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day. And I think I walked away from that meeting thinking they're coming after it here in Winthrop.
But didn't they learn their lesson with the Italian incident?
I don't know.
Didn't they learn their lesson with the Get Your Italian Up incident? Do you want to rile those people up and rally them even more than what came out for the Get Your Italian Up issue?
I think we should I think Winthrop Votes should be telling everybody on Winthrop Votes and everyone else that they're talking about addressing this issue.
I'm telling you right now, they will absolutely 100% drive a spike into this town. They will be the cause of division. They will be the cause of anything that happens after that. I most guarantee that. It's going to have, they can suggest all they want. They can address all they want. But if they want to, they listen, the state of Massachusetts couldn't even get away with it.
That's true.
The town council of Winthrop and it's not even on the town council yet. It'll be presented to them. Last time I checked, there's some Italian Americans on there. there's some Italian Americans that probably won't like that. So they can address all they want. I'm telling you, they should pick another cause. Take my advice. Heed my warning.
Well,
find another cause. You
raise a good point, Scott. All the causes first of all,
dead on arrival. Rob DeMarco, dead on arrival.
Father Walter was saying during the meeting, if you're going to do this, you really need to be artful how you do whatever it is you're going to do. Like, nobody really knows what it is they're even trying to do or communicate. But the point is, why does it even have to be about that stuff? This is stuff. See, the problem I have, and I do hope I get on this commission because I want to share the sentiment with the members of this commission. Like, why are we judging people from the past based upon standards and moral things that are socially acceptable and morals that are socially acceptable today?
It's agenda. It's divisiveness.
That's really all
identity politics. It's identity politics. It's all part of the playbook. That's the bottom line. That's the only reason they bring my family. I've said this before. I'll say it again. My family came from Ireland. We didn't know they came in through Canada. They didn't even go near New York. So you're blaming me? Like we could beat that horse to death. But that committee, you know who that committee should be focusing on?
No.
How about focusing on the person who was the victim of the Foley incident?
Yes.
How about reaching out to that person or those people? How about going out to them and saying, listen, is there anything we can do? I hope they might. Maybe they have. But that's what a committee like that should do.
I agree.
Not go pick, snipering holidays, national holidays, to what? Stir a hornet's nest? To say, you want to bring on a fight. That is the fight you don't want. Columbus Day is the fight you do not want. Trust that. Just Flockhart would probably be the first one to tell you that.
Real quick, Rob, no phone number tonight.
No, hold on. I think the phone's actually charging. Yeah. Yeah, hold on.
Sorry.
I've been a little backwards and upside down. I might have a little juice.
Forgiven this week.
Let's see.
Leave it plugged in.
Let me see. I'm gonna give Rob the number. He can talk until the phone dies.
Leave it plugged in.
But I have to plug it into the.
There's the phone number if you want it.
All right, let's see what happens.
Oh boy.
Robbie, you want to give a call? Give it a shot. I don't know how much time you'll have.
That's right.
There we go.
Oh, it's the perfect hang
Look
up.
at it. And see, I even got him on caller ID. Robert DeMarco, welcome to Winthrop Post live stream.
Thank you. Good. I'll be quick.
No,
Hey.
until it runs out. Talk until the phone dies.
Well, I'll be honest. So first off, I mean, Columbus Day. You know, whether you agree with the name or not, I don't care. It's been a day to celebrate Italian heritage my whole life.
Yes.
Me and my family have always gone apple picking up to New Hampshire that day. Even when I don't have it off, we take it off. We even watch the damn Canadian Football League games because they play a Labor Day Classic.
That's beautiful.
Okay. I don't have a problem in theory with an Indigenous Peoples Day. Just don't take the day away from the damn Italians.
Take it the next day.
Have it the next Monday.
Yeah.
You want to have a day? Why do they have to steal it from the Italians? That makes no sense. It's like, yeah, we can celebrate Indigenous people. Let the Italians have their day, and then a week later on Monday you can have your day. I don't get why it's like, okay, we're going to take the Italians' day away from them. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're going to, okay, you're going to take our day away from us. What are you going to call it? Italian Heritage Day instead of Columbus? No, we're going to give it to the Indigenous people so they can have their day.
No, there's problems with Italian heritage too, brother.
I
know what he's saying, though. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, though. It's like, don't take the day away from the Italians.
Right.
You want to celebrate Indigenous people? Just make it another day.
Just don't make it March 17th. Oh, no.
Oh, don't do that.
That's a bigger fight.
Oh, I know.
Sure, there's no doubt about fighting there.
No, I agree 100%, Rob. Why they even put that on their agenda makes no sense at all. It really makes no sense at all.
If I had known they would be talking about that, I would be there too, because I'm a member of the Sons of Italy, and the Sons of Italy have been outraged over this stuff for a long time. You know, and a lot of people don't realize the reason behind Columbus Day and why it became a holiday. And it was essentially because Italians were lynched.
Yeah.
So people don't realize that.
No, they don't want to.
No, and they're here, which you would think would be something the diversity committee would want to hear.
They don't. Nobody does their homework. They don't do their homework. They don't do their research. They look at the name. They're like, and they hear it. It sounds good. It's the soup of the day, and they're like, yeah, let's do that. But then when you ask them,
there's good people. There's good people on that committee.
No, there is. I'm just saying. But when you could probably, how many? If there's 7 of them, I'm sure there's 2 of them that don't know. But they'll vote against it because it sounds like the right thing to do. I hope I'm wrong in that. But look at the bottom line is this. They have other things to work on. Work on Winthrop.
I agree. I don't think Columbus Day is the thing to take up right now. I think it should
sponsor Indigenous Peoples Day.
No, I mean, it's not like Winthrop has a Columbus Day parade.
Nothing.
It's not like they have a big celebration.
We actually talked about that. We actually talked about that at the Sons of Italy, bringing an event for Columbus Day.
As you should. If you can, then you should.
You know, Robin, I'll just a comment to the people on that. I mean, on that commission. I honestly, I have my own opinions about the people, and it's mostly good, but that's really irrelevant, frankly. Because at the end of the day, wherever they're getting their information, they're not getting all of it, right? They're just not. Mm-hmm. They're looking at one side of it. They're going after these things based upon a lot of false information. You know.
Well, and to be fair to them, I have not been to one of their meetings, so I'm responding to the information I'm getting from you, but I have not been to any of their meetings, so I don't have anything negative to say about any person on that committee right now.
Well, maybe you should go to the next meeting. Go to the next meeting, and just see what's up.
Maybe once a month, so it'll be the first Tuesday, I think, of each month. I think.
But it's just almost like they're picking a fight. You know,
let's call it what it is.
Makes no sense.
Everybody gets into every person on Earth gets into their own little thing where they believe a certain way. We all do this. We all have our things we hold on to. These folks just happen to hold on to these types of things for whatever reason.
Yeah.
They're very much married to this idea that everyone except the white man has been wronged, and colonialism is the devil incarnate, essentially.
Yeah. Hey,
And
Rob, while we have you on the
Yeah.
phone, is there anything
Yeah.
anything you want to talk about? Anything going on in your
oh yeah, good call.
in your world of town council? Is there anything coming up? Is there anything you want to?
Well, it's going to be very interesting when we get in October. We're going to start talking about the rules and ordinance proposals. So that's going to be very interesting because some things came out with positive recommendations and some things came out with negative. Well, they didn't come out. They didn't come out because they didn't get positive recommendations.
Wait, so your committee already voted? That rules and ordinances already voted?
Yes, we did.
You can. It's public info. You can share it.
Yeah. No. So, and I believe I might have the minutes somewhere, but essentially, the term limit passed. I mean,
wow.
the term change, I believe, passed out of committee.
Wow.
For 2 years instead of 4. The ones that didn't pass was the recall, even though I lengthened it. I made it harder to pass, and it still didn't pass out of committee. And I'm trying to think what else.
It's not dead yet, Scott. It's just the council, the full council.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's still close. Though. It's close.
Yeah.
I mean what else didn't pass? I would say there were only like 3 things that did not pass out of committee, and that was the recall, and then 2 of the 3 points on the term did not come out of committee. I can tell you I voted for everyone.
So 2 of the 3 points of the term, which probably means they're not going to go to 4 years
For the town council president?
Correct. I believe that did not come out of committee. Yep.
Yeah.
And so they're going to make it what? What are the terms?
The one that did come out of committee was 2 years for counselors instead of 4.
I guess that only makes sense.
Well, but it doesn't work really because now it's 2 years for everybody. First of all, second of all, it defeats a lot of the purpose. Everything was put together for a very specific reason. But that's okay. The council there's still a shot. But everybody who's first of all, everybody who's watching or will watch this, share it with Ruggiero, share it with all of the folks on that ordinance committee. John Munson, share it with share this video with Joe Aiello. Guys, you are not the be all end all. The spirit of this is that you're supposed to let the people vote. You just removed the people. You just took away the people's opportunity to vote on something based upon your opinions. How is that not elitist?
So the fact of the matter is, and this is the clear difference that people need to know. The ones that come out of committee with a positive recommendation will go up for a vote. The ones with a negative recommendation or did not come out of committee can come up for a vote if somebody makes a motion and then it gets seconded by another counselor.
Right.
So just want to make that clear. The ones that did not come out of committee are not dead. They can still be brought up for a vote.
Well, and when I say they're probably dead, those same people are going to, I mean, we already know who's going to vote. The councilors we need to reach out to, the people of Winthrop need to email, call, and reach out to Honan, Flockhart, Aiello, Munson, and Ruggiero. That's your 5 that are likely going to take away your right to vote on a change to the charter and some ordinances. Like they did. Rob, did the variance removal of the variance language come up? Oh, the phone die?
Yep, we lost him.
Oh well. I wonder. Yeah. Well, we'll find out. So this is not surprising, though. This is really not surprising. Kind of glad he called because that a good update that we caught there on the ordinance, folks. We've got to get involved here. Apathy. We have people serving on our town council that do not want the people of Winthrop to vote on their own government. That's essentially what just happened. Well, it's not over yet, but that's what they're trying to do. And
Right.
that's not what Jim wanted them to do when he asked them to review the proposals. He didn't want them to outright remove, like not bring stuff forward. That's not what the spirit of this was. So if any of those five would like to come on here and explain to us how they didn't rob the people the ability to self-govern, we'd love to hear it. Love to have you come on. Because this is not good.
Right.
If the town council doesn't pass that as is, where it's not good. It's not good. A lot of hard work went into that. A lot of people's time, and it's kind of a slap in the face, actually.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We got to wait for the final verdict.
Yeah. So, last but not least, first of all, I haven't told you this, Scott, but I started a text group, and I'm hoping the text group grows of a bunch of parents in Winthrop. I'm trying to organize voices, I guess. I don't even really know, to tell you the truth, but the goal here for me, and hopefully for the parents, and hopefully they listen and hear this and keep in contact, is to try to get our legislature involved in making some changes to some old laws. So I went to the school committee meeting tonight because we've got some issues going on in school. It's happening again. Okay. My son is in Miss Torgie's history class. His first day of school, him and everyone, not just one, but everyone in that classroom received an electronic, Google Doc. First day, tell us about yourself type stuff. And the question was there. The pronoun question was there.
Kidding me.
Not kidding.
They just cannot effing help themselves.
And
pathetic activists.
And by the way, there wasn't an ability to not answer. You had to answer. Okay. Now, maybe the kid could have put not applicable in, but what ninth grader is not going to think I got to put something in here that doesn't say not applicable, or I choose not to answer, right?
And that's what this activist teacher does. They force the hand. They force the child's hand. They're insane. They're insane people. They're dealing with minors.
Well, let's say that's right? Because I was just going to say to you, let's say this is a well-intended teacher that doesn't know.
She's not.
How do you not know that this is not something you should be talking to a minor about? Isn't this common sense?
What's her name again?
Torgie, Tourgee. Ninth grade history.
Yeah, I think there should be some parents calling the superintendent's office.
Well, hopefully the parents that didn't find out about this in their class should call the superintendent, because as I went through my thing tonight at the school committee meeting, I made a plea for them to help. Miss Howard took the opportunity afterwards to give some context, which I thought was a good idea. I think it helped give some color to the people on the committee and the people who might be watching the school committee meeting. But the one thing she said that was a little troublesome to me, I'm not sure what her intentions were in saying that only 2 parents have reached out to them on this stuff. I understand that that's probably the case, but be careful with that, because most parents don't, either because they don't know what's happening, right? My son has 25 kids in his class, 20 kids in his class. So he's not the only one that it's happening to, number one. Number two, a lot of parents are afraid to speak out for fear of retribution. It's a real thing. Parents don't get involved a lot, A, either because they don't know what's going on, or B, because maybe things are just fine for them, or C, they're afraid.
So let me address Miss Howard's comment. How's this, Superintendent Howard? 1 is too much.
I agree with that.
1 parent. Do not minimize this. Minimalize it, however you want to say it. Because that's exactly what she did. 1 is too much. 1 kid spouting off a racial slur is too much. 1 parent, 2 parents complaining that their children got asked the pronouns. How old are they?
Well, 9th grade is 14, 15.
Yeah. 1 parent complaining is too much, Superintendent Howard. So you want to play that game? You know what that's called, Todd? That
No.
was a perfect example of gaslighting.
That
is
all
a
depends
perfect
on
example
intention.
of gaslighting.
I'm not sold yet. But
she gaslit that whole thing. It's no big deal. Because that's what gaslighting is. For people that don't know, it's this issue. My child was asked his pronoun. I don't think it's right. Well, it's not really a big deal. Only a few parents are complaining. That's gaslighting. They downplay it, and they blow it off, and they brush it by. But it's a major issue.
And that's not even the worst offense. Okay.
Can't wait.
So yeah, now this one's there are apparently teachers in the middle school.
Yeah,
middle
it's a
school.
troublesome place
Middle
right there.
school. Now this is middle school. Okay.
That's a troublesome place.
And we're gonna get a little more detailed here in a minute because I have in my hand the written, the textual, the text of CO 603 CMR 2100, which is the laws that govern how do they phrase it? The laws that govern student records, which includes everything they do in a school building. Okay. So apparently we have teachers in the middle school who are quite comfortable approaching people in person, putting them on the spot and asking them their pronouns, and then going on and asking them to keep the conversations between them. That happened in Winthrop. I'm absolutely not outing anybody. Will not do it, but it's happening. And that, my friend, now, the way it works by law, and I believe this is state statute. I still haven't gotten clarity of whether or not this is federal or state, but regardless, for the moment, it's a written law. 13 years old or younger, someone identifies to the teacher that they're transgender or whatever language they use, all full stop, take the kid to the school site counselor, notify the parents, tutti fenuti. That's it. It's over. 14 or older, well, the kid doesn't want you to tell the parents get nothing. They don't get to know. And I'm not oversimplifying this when I say that because it's written right here that either the parent or eligible student in this situation acting alone can exercise these rights, assuming you understand what the previous rights I said were, which is if you don't want the records released to the parents, or if the parents don't want records released. But obviously, if the teacher and the student are the ones talking and the student says, don't tell the parents aren't going to find out.
Right.
So I want to give this a little bit of color and context. Forget about the transgender thing for a minute. We'll get back to that. You got a 14, 15-year-old daughter who's, you think you have a great relationship with, and maybe you do. But the one thing you might not have broached is sex. And little miss goes up to the school nurse and says, I need contraception. Don't tell mommy. You don't get to find out. Now your daughter's on contraception, which, by the way, who knows how safe they are. Oh, Sean Hickey with an education. Commonwealth of Massachusetts CMRs are not law. They are simply edicts by the AG's office. That's a good point. This should be even easier for us to overturn then, shouldn't it be? But anyway, let me stop there because I know going through this stuff on Livestream might be confusing. Does that sound clear? Like, does that all make sense? Did I simple it up enough for you?
Yeah. 14-year-olds can make they're shot callers now.
Think about that.
Yeah, I can't.
What 14-year-old boy or girl has the emotional strength and wherewithal to be having conversations about whether or not they got herpes?
Well, let's go to the other side. Let's go to the other side of the coin. What normal adult, and I think you know where I'm going with that. What normal adult deals with minors, influences minors, grooms minors in the ways of their thinking? how they think. You know, the days of, listen, man, I'm just a teacher. I'm not your parent. Parents are the parents.
That's gone.
I'm the teacher. Now they're like, come here, kiddies. Gather around, kiddies. And it's as creepy as that. Hey, you know what it's like? It's like that, what was it? What was the movie? Chitty Chitty Bang Bang with the child catcher? Come on, kiddies. Gather around. Gather around.
Rated kitty porn.
Hey, listen, I'll make it as creepy as possible because you know what? It's effing creepy to me.
Oh, hold
Those
on.
are creepy adults.
What if I'm the teacher? What if I'm that teacher? Suzanne Leonard, if you're watching or ever see this,
She don't watch
when your
this.
daughter grows up to be 14 years old and I have my teaching certificate in my retirement, what if she's my teacher? My student. And I take her aside and say, what's your pronouns? Or do you, or she comes to me and says, I want to get on birth control. But I'm not going to tell you. But how would you feel about me talking to her about those things?
Remember, it's always different when it's them, just like Martha's Vineyard. It's always different when it's
You know
them.
what the best part of this is, though, Scott? Honestly, her and I, like, obviously, Suzanne Leonard disagrees with me on this stuff. She thinks it's just okay for third grade teachers and kids.
Creepy
to be talking
adult.
about. Yep.
She's a
She
creepy
can
adult.
have what she wants, and I can have what I want too. All she has to do is sign a waiver that says you can talk to my kid about anything you want.
That's it.
Why can't it be that way?
Yeah.
Why can't
Make
we
it
do that?
that's simple enough. If a parent wants to sign the waiver,
Yeah, here you go.
don't make it across
Don't
the board,
make
a
it-
broad
yeah.
stroke.
Don't speak for me. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Don't speak for me.
But they don't care about you. They care about molding those young, vulnerable minds
Well, that's the other part of it too.
because
So-
they're creepy adults.
So let's take it back to the whole transgender
Miss
thing now.
Miss Toogie, whatever her name is
Toogie. Yep.
a creepy adult.
If I find out who the teachers are in the middle school too, the gloves are off.
Yeah.
I'm
Look
done.
at, they were the ones that dropped the gauntlet.
The gloves are off.
They want it,
because
they'll get it.
They're gonna.
We
yeah,
will
they-
find out the names and we will say their names from the highest mountain.
loud and proud.
Yeah, if
I
they
might
want to
even
play
put
that
a-
game, it's a two-way street.
I might put a letter in the transcript too. Letter to the editor. These are
They won't
these are
won't publish yours. they'll see the postmarker. They'll see the
That's all right. We'll keep
Ah,
sending
yeah,
it. We'll keep sending it.
yeah. That won't make it.
So here's the thing too. Like, so getting this back to the whole transgender thing, someone explained to me how what amounts to a complete stranger comes up to your child on the first day of school and asks them what should be considered personal health information type questions. Why would we think, okay, so let's all play along for a minute and pretend, okay, yeah, we want the teachers to do this because we're worried about our kids, right? Being not accepted. Well, putting a kid in the spot like that, is that not potential for triggering the child?
They don't care about that. They just want to push the activism. They want to push the agenda. They want to train, they want to groom, they want to mold a little army, a little liberal left army, a little LGBTQLNYA army. That's all I see. And call me ignorant, call me blind, call me toxic male, call me whatever you want to call me. But you know I'm right. You know I'm right when I say that. That's all they want to do. They're training children to be activists. That's it. Prove me wrong.
That's good. So
That.
I mean, it's right. It actually does this to my brain, right? It's like, what? It's just almost, it's beyond belief. So I'm reading this. So I read through this whole thing and I'm looking under section 23.01 application of rights. So number one, this is the only part I need to read. These rights shall be the rights of the student upon reaching 14 years of age or upon entering the 9th grade, whichever comes first. If a student is under the age of 14 and has not yet entered the 9th grade, these rights shall belong to the student's parents. These rights shall be granted to the students upon reaching 14. Who gives a 14-year-old this kind of power?
Hey, remember, these are the lunatics that wanted 16-year-olds to be able to vote. Remember that.
They can be 13 actually too. Check this out. 14 years of age or upon entering ninth grade, whichever comes first. So it's even a 13-year-old could actually do this.
Activist teachers are the most dangerous, and I hate to give them that much credit, but I have to. They are the most dangerous adults in any town or city. Activist teachers, because, as I always say, they're organized, and they're pushy, and they're loud, and they are the squeaky wheel. But they're organized, and when they come up with a plan, they execute it, just like they did this year. You cannot tell me that was not
some of these people can't be in on it. They're just not. I mean, they're just not.
They follow.
Smart.
They follow. They're told what to do, right? So what happens is they had this all planned. That little group, like I got from the insider, there's a little LGBTQRSTUV group that's very bossy, very pushy. They had this organized before school started to get that out on the first day. It's a shock and awe. In the military, we call that shock and awe. Hit them hard, hit them fast, and then damned what the repercussions are. And the superintendent, to her credit, found out and said, you can't do that anymore. But they knew that was going to happen. They're organized, and they plan, and they execute. And they're dangerous.
Well, I imagine the superintendent would be in favor of changing these regulations because it would make her job easier. She could be more proactive instead of playing whack-a-mole every time one of these situations crops up.
Or she's too busy, or she's really good at gaslighting these situations.
Well, let's say she's right. It's only two incidents in school this year.
It's too much.
That's true. But it's not just two this year. It's two this school year, right? Because didn't we have an incident that was, right? I mean, we had, what's his name? I can't remember the teacher's name. He's gone now. He left the district because of this, right? He had to be babysat the rest of the year. Yeah. So that's 3 teachers. And that's, again, the ones we know about. I mean, and we know there's more than we know. There's like a core group of them in that middle school because that's where that Allies billboard is.
Yep.
That is where the heart.
There's a lot going on in the middle school.
That's the youngest level there that they can, they don't want to be too creepy and go down into, 5th down.
Yeah. Let's just attack
6th grade and up.
Yeah. Let's just go after the older minors. Let's go to the older minors.
These Massachusetts liberals aren't as dumb as those rednecks down in Virginia. We can just go right after in Florida. We can go right after the 3rd graders. That's why the chances had to protect the rednecks, right? Because they're not smart enough to see what's going on.
Yeah,
wrong.
They see more. Right they see more than they think. They see more than these people think.
You're wrong. They got you.
Don't underestimate. Don't underestimate because of the way they talk.
All right, all the huffing and puffing aside for a minute.
Okay.
All the huffing. What I really wanted to get out of this, in the end, in the long run, like kind of the shell of what I'm looking at is Lydia, Jeff, Ed Markey, Catherine Clark, whoever else needs to be involved to fix this, to compromise. Like I said to you earlier, they all know there are parents just like me, and lots of them, I'd argue there's more of them like me who do not want this crap going on in school. And the ones who do can sign a form to let their kids be test pin cushions, lab rats, whatever they want them to be.
That's a perfect solution.
So let's get on it. Let's work together so there'll be more peace, because this is a divisive issue.
Oh,
it is.
Everything they do seems to be divisive.
No, it's all my fault, though. It's all my fault.
Yeah. You are a white heterosexual man.
Lightning rod
in America.
They tried
the vowel at the end of your name.
Wait, Sean, are you in Malden or not? Because he's like, I left that political cesspool.
So evidently he moved.
He moved, right? Am I miss?
And what is Carol M said? What happened to calling people adults and minors by their first name?
Carol, spot on, honey.
But there's a lot they do.
How you doing, Carol? Mm-hmm.
Carol, there are, again, and I want to stress this. There are some very good teachers in the Winthrop school system. I don't want this to be a broad stroke on all teachers.
Oh, but we want those
there is
ones
a group.
Be louder.
There's a group in the middle school that I've been made aware of, and Todd has been made aware of. Evidently, his son's teacher, Miss Toogie, is one of them. Those are the ones that are spoiling the batch. I mean, I would hate to be just, and like I said, I'm sure, I know for a fact, all right, that there are liberal-minded teachers in that school that hate what the other ones are doing.
I agree with that.
That's a fact. That I know for a fact, that they hate what this group of younger activist teachers, I cannot say that enough, younger activist teachers are doing. But they persist.
Just because the numbers are small or the incidents that we're catching are small, I can't stress this enough, doesn't mean there's not more of it, and it really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
One is too much.
One is too much.
It's always, and again, nice job by Superintendent Lisa Howard for gaslighting that situation. Very good, but she's been put on notice. Gaslighting doesn't work. And if you know her, give her that message with all due respect. Gaslighting is an ugly thing. It degrades those two parents, those two parents that complained. You just put them in the dirt.
I'm one of them.
Yeah. Then she just kind of stepped on you, said you don't really matter. Because there's only two parents complained. Okay. Yeah, Rob says, my daughters have loved every teacher they have had. Has the teachers asked them what their pronouns are? I don't want to.
Don't answer that.
we like the comment, Rob. You don't have to answer. The phone will die again, by the way, if you call back.
Don't call again.
We're going to move on from this subject, Rob.
Are we, though?
But we do appreciate him calling. We always appreciate Rob. He always has good insight. He always tells the truth. And he's a straight shooter. He's not afraid to argue with us. He's not afraid to go. He doesn't come on here just to agree with us. That's for sure. I think he likes debating. I think Rob likes arguing.
Yeah, I think he enjoys the go. But
in a good way.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's supposed to be, therapeutic, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
On some level, it's supposed to be therapeutic.
Yeah.
What
else we got, buddy?
I mean, that's in the end, I guess more to come on this stuff.
All right.
I'm getting some legal opinions as well on what we can and cannot do. I don't know.
Hopefully next week.
Pay attention. I mean, for those of you saying it's not happening, it doesn't happen. It's not. It's here. It happened here. It happened here in Winthrop.
If you're a middle school parent, it's happening. There is zero doubt. It is in play right now. It'll be in play tomorrow when your child goes to school. It's going to be in play every school day for the rest of the school year in the middle school. So
you asked me what else before I forget, because my old brain will do this. The other day I was out for a walk and I was essentially accosted, might be a strong word, but certainly approached in a strong way by the teachers. They were out with their propaganda, trying to get community support for their new contract. I didn't even read what was on there because I'm like listening to the woman talk. I didn't know who she was.
And she knew who you were.
No, at first she didn't. That was the funny part, because she's trying to sell me on why they deserve a raise. And I'm going, whoa. Do you know who I am? She goes, no, should I? I said, well,
you know who I am?
I didn't mean it like that, but I said, well, I mean, geez, if you did, you probably wouldn't be trying to. And she goes, are you Todd Sack? I go, yeah. I says, yeah. She goes, and she keeps going. Do you know how long has it been since I get a raise? And so I wanted to say to her, I'm sorry. Because I know my response was, because I was frustrated. My walk was interrupted, whatever.
Yeah.
But my response was that these things aren't my problem. I want you to do well. I go get a job somewhere else, but don't sit here in this district and demand more money. I mean, I don't know. Why would you stay? And I just want to say to her, that was my response. There was a few other things, but I just want to say I'm sorry to this, that we didn't have a much more peaceful and longer conversation where we sought to understand each other, because I think you'd understand me better. And maybe I know I'd understand you better. And maybe at the very least, you're never going to change my mind and I'm not going to change yours, but you don't have to be mad about it.
Well,
because we don't.
Right. Listen, nobody reacts well initially when they're blindsided.
That's true too.
You know, so I wouldn't say it's your fault. I wouldn't say you have to apologize. You handled it the way you handled it when you walked into it, you know, and you gave her an answer and you moved on. Listen, if she doesn't like it, she doesn't like it. But the fact that she said, "Are you Todd Sacco?"
Oh, it was comedy.
Means you, my friend, have their attention.
Well, they know me.
I'm sure I could walk by and I'm Scott McLean. Who?
I don't know.
But if I walk by a teachers group, if you walk by and said, "I'm Todd Sacco," they'd go, "Boo."
I think it's worse. I think it's worse than that too. I think it's worse than that. And I don't want everyone to think people don't deserve raises, but I'm going to be a little bit braver than most of my friends and people in the community when say, "Oh, not everyone deserves one." I'm sorry.
Hey, I have a question about that. I have a question that you can answer.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you before my old mind forgets. So the teachers union negotiates with the school district management or the school committee?
The school committee directly. They have a subcommittee of 3 that meets with the teachers unit. Then there's a subcommittee of 3 that meets with the custodial and the secretaries. Is there a nurses one and administrators?
So like is there anyone from the from the superintendent's office, any management? It's the only way I could put it. That's above the teachers, you know, that are in on the bargaining, or are they just trusting school committee?
No. The way it's supposed to work, at least the way I was told it's supposed to work, it all goes back to the budgeting. It starts with budgeting, right?
Yeah.
So the superintendent says to his or herself, "What do I want to do with the school this year? What are my objectives? Where do I want to improve?" And you build a budget plan around that. As an example, maybe you want to, maybe you've got school committee members who are running for election. Suzanne Leonard, sorry, Lane, I think you were one of them. And I'm sorry, Julie, you might have been one of them, but you guys can correct me. But you had at least 3 people running on this idea of trying to bring back music, arts, and languages. So let's say she puts a figure in the budget, the superintendent puts a figure in the budget for that. That becomes part of the wish list. Because what they're always doing when they're asking for new money, every single school year, you'll hear this term, level services. To keep the same number of teachers, same classroom size, same number of programs, same user fees. Level services means nothing changes. Nothing gets worse, nothing gets better. That's all we're ever talking about. We are rarely ever bringing back. And when we do bring back stuff like, I laugh. When I was serving on the school committee, I wanted to bring Mandarin. I would have settled on Latin. I would have settled on anything other than just Spanish. I would have settled on having Spanish go from, I think should start in 6th grade all the way through to 12th. I would have settled on that. Anyway, long story short, one of my colleagues he says, "Oh, I'll bring Latin back." Okay. He shows me his Latin program. He's having it on Saturdays, like once a week. It's like, it's not even it's not a program. It's like an extra help session almost.
Yeah.
That's the point being, we're never bringing anything, never, because we're always settling or living up to our contractual agreements. We are hand to mouth, as they say in our budget. And someone can turn around all they want and say, "Let's have an override then. The taxpayer should pay more money." Okay. Let's give them one. What do we do the next year? And the next year? And the next year? Because it doesn't stop at one override.
I was I was a union steward for one of the union stewards for South Florida Customs and Border Protection with the National Treasury Union, right? National Employees Treasury Union, NTEU. And as a steward, there was in some big negotiations that affected the whole country. I think I would probably have advised against a teacher going out to parents and other adults and saying, "I need more money," because the chances are the person you're talking to, they need money too. It's a bad strategy. Shows the leadership, the mentality of the leadership. You go out there and you're literally telling somebody who works their ass off all day, and there's a chance they're making ends meet just barely. You're telling them, you know how much I get paid? I want more money. You're not gonna get a lot of people to support you on that. Well, that's bad strategy.
That's actually a great point. I wasn't even thinking of it, right? Like, that's part of the reason I was out walking is I was like thinking about it, how expensive everything's gotten and how I'm going to continue to make ends meet.
So, and ergo, that goes to your reaction, which you don't owe an apology to. I understand what you're trying to do. You don't want to come across like an asshole, but
no, I don't.
But you're coming across to me as an asshole if you're trying to tell me, hey, help me. I want more money. Support me.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's sorry. I know the language thing. It's kind of an asshole thing to do.
Maybe not asshole. Okay. A lot of times being an asshole comes from being ignorant, right? And in all fairness, okay, let's call this what it is. And a lot of teachers aren't going to like what I'm about to say, but when you've spent kindergarten through 12th grade and then 4 years in college, and then you're back in a classroom, your perspective on the world is going to be very different than those of us who got to commute, punch the clock, don't have summers off, and are under a different kind of stress that you can only imagine.
But I do know the stress the teachers are under. I'm watching my son now go through the rigor of being a new teacher, but it was his decision to do that.
Well, there is.
It was his decision to be a teacher, and I respect that. I love that. I understand that. My wife was a college professor, associate professor. There's a lot of rigor that goes into it, but you volunteer for that.
Well, and ask him. Maybe he'll eventually say this to you as he gets his feet under him. Every teacher I've ever spoken to, family members that taught, friends, whatever, one of the most difficult things is the classroom management piece of it. And that varies obviously from district to district too. If you're in a highly troubled district, you're going to be dealing with that worse than
he works in he got a job at a private school. Fortunately, he's not in the public school system. It's a private Jewish school here in Boca, right? Those kids are out of control. Those kids, it doesn't matter what kind of school you're in. Kids are kids.
Yeah, but they have more resources, don't they? In those.
No, you know what they have? You know what they have in that school that he teaches at? They have their version of DIFA.
Oh no.
Yeah. Except this guy was an ex-Marine.
Oh yeah.
Like he teaches a class or two, but he's the guy that like sits in the back of the room if the room is unruly, and he understands the lack of experience that a new teacher might have with a class of 15, 16-year-olds that know you're a new teacher, you know?
Yeah.
And they have that guy who had to actually come into that class, one of his classes, and take care of it. So where the school, like, you know, it could be a public school or a private school. Kids are kids, and they will test you. It's in their nature.
This is so this is all true, and being a teacher has its challenges. I won't take that away, but I'm going to stand by my words and say people that go down in mines, people that go into fires, and people that go into domestic disputes in homes, and people that do drug raids, I think they're in a much more different, stressful situation.
I worked in a very stressful environment.
Now, you may not have felt it that way because you thrived in those kind of situations.
I thrived in it, but it was long hours away from the family.
Sure.
16-hour days sometimes, then get up, go home, sleep 8 hours, do another 16-hour days. It was in having one day off a week, and I could go down the line. But I was built for that. I was wired for that. Not to say there wasn't a tough job, just because I liked it. There's a lot of pressure from your bosses to produce. Where I worked on an anti-terrorism, anti-smuggling unit in Miami, there's expectations.
That's right.
There's big expectations.
Yeah, you got to bring in the goods. There's a lot of them down there.
Yes. Regardless, I admire teachers. I respect teachers. I don't admire, and I certainly don't respect activist teachers. And I'm sure I speak for you when I say that. Activist teachers are dangerous. They're dangerous. people and activist teachers that press gender and sex are creepy adults. Bottom line. That's all I have to say for tonight.
Are you familiar with Reddit?
Yeah, I stay out of that lunatic asylum.
No.
It's good, but
there's some crazy stuff in there. But so just to kind of put a bow on this whole transgender conversation, one of the things that I think people should think about why I'm alarmed about this is I've been studying up on the detrans movement, and I've been trying to piece together data. It's really difficult to find pro gender affirmation surgery data that has been vetted and peer reviewed. That it doesn't exist. So long story short, according to the data I could find, there's about 1 million people in America who self-identify as transgender. There's a group on Reddit called Detrans. These people are there to support each other. You should read some of the horror stories these people are telling about their journeys and what happened when they decided to detrans and how their allies just bailed on them because you're no longer part of the sisterhood or whatever. The suicide, all of it. But 4% of people who transition, roughly give or take, are that's a good one, Rob. Are detransitioning. I mean, that's a big number.
Yes.
That's a big number. So and that means scary things. That means people are still suffering. Yeah. So we shouldn't be in such a rush to affirm someone's gender is what I'm getting at.
Creepy adults do that.
Yes, they do.
Very adults do that.
It's very creepy.
And there's creepy adults working in the Winthrop Middle School.
Yes,
creepy adult teacher activists.
Apparently
that's what they are. So, all right, buddy.
Yeah.
That was a fast hour.
Really did go by quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another good night, guys. So please, again, guys, thank you. We say this every week, right? All politics starts at the local level. It's here at home. Now you can start to see how national politics gets fueled at home. This is national stuff being brought to your door by activist teachers in your schools. Please share. It's true. The truth is out there. And help us. Help us call our legislators, call your state reps, tell them that they need to repeal, change, fix 603 CMR 2300. 603 CMR 2300.
We're gonna put it up on the Facebook group, right?
I did. It's on the Facebook group. It pertains to notification of student record information and who has rights to it. We need to fix it. Parents need to take their rights back.
Absolutely. Sean Hickey says this needs to be 4 hours long. It could.
You need to get something to do.
It could. Once again, I want to thank Rob for calling in. He's a good man. He's a good dude. Again, he's always welcome to call. He was our first caller when we started this show 55 episodes ago when they said we wouldn't be here. They thought we wouldn't last. But Rob, thank you. Always good to hear from you. I want to talk to Kurt Millar. I want to have him back on.
Okay.
I have some questions for him.
He's watching, so he just heard you.
Yeah. I don't want him giving up. He posted something kind of cryptic recently, and I if anybody appreciates you, sir, it's me and Todd. We appreciate you. Trust us. Sean, Carol, you have so many questions. We'll be back next Monday night. My phone will be working. It's at the pot. Whoa, what's going on?
Uh-oh. What happened? What'd you do? Wow. I have so many questions too, Carol, if you can hear me.
We're out.
We're out.